All right. And we're live. Hello, YouTube. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You saw me jamming out. I was listening to my favorite song, The Present by Isaac Cappy. You don't know who Cappy is? Well, maybe you should. Ooh, my light just went off. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's actually better. Great. Okay. Alrighty then. Here we go. Let us press the record button. If you're watching a replay on YouTube, I usually get started around a minute if this is a live stream. Okay, we're going to hit record and get started. Here we go. Ready? Ready? A one and a two and a one, two, three, go. Oh, maybe not. Welcome everyone to Rise and Shine. My name is Coach Lacy. Be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you have found me on the big wild web, whether it's YouTube at Wellness with Watson or on one of my many social media platforms. It is Tuesday, and today I am just coming at you with a reminder that just because everything's quiet doesn't mean something's not happening. Ooh, we all want to believe that when we step into our calling, when we figure out what that calling on our life is, because we all have a calling on our life. We all want to believe that when we figure it out, like that's it, light bulb moment, that we will have instant results. And we find ourselves even in times of following divine guidance. Um, Nope, I'm talking to myself in my ear. It's weird. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I had a little glitch in the matrix. I could hear a feedback loop. Anyways, our calling. So when you step into your calling, you feel like, all right, I got this divine guidance. I know what the calling on my life is. I know what the divine design is, and I'm ready to go, and I'm doing all the things. And maybe you're a business owner, maybe you're just a professional, maybe you are just starting out in your journey and you are figuring out what it is that the calling on your life is. And you open up the doors and you're like, I'm here, I'm ready, and you're ready and ready to take on the world, and you're expecting support to flood in, and boom, live the dream, and then crickets, crickets, and it doesn't quite, pop like you thought it would. It doesn't quite pop off like you thought it would, and it feels like sometimes everything is stalled. What do you do? What do you do then? What now? What now? And what if it feels like you're doing all the work and nothing is moving? Ah, you guys, I have had so many moments like this. And lately, I was having moments like this. I've been walking through this. I've been showing up, doing the thing, and, giving it my all. And recently, I had to just go back and get anchored back in because I found myself in a moment of quiet anticipation and waiting for the next thing. And I was showing up with a faithful heart and working I'm working doing the steps and doing everything that I can do to make things move. And it felt like nothing was happening. But it's kind of like when you're watering your garden, right? You go and you till the soil and then you plant some seeds and then you water them and you show up each day and you water that garden, and if you were to go out and check every morning to see if those little seeds are sprouting, in the beginning it feels like maybe nothing's happening, right? But then one day you go out and there's a sprout. Oh, it's such an exciting moment to see a sprout. If any of you have had a garden, you know how exciting that is when you get that first little sprout. And then that sprout starts to grow, and then it turns into a plant, and then you start waiting for the fruit. Where is the fruit? Where is my vegetables? And sometimes it takes a while, especially if you're like growing a watermelon. Sometimes that takes a while. And if you were to show up in, if you were to plant that thing in April, probably March, April, and go out in June, it's going to look like not a lot is happening, right? But you go out back in September, and that watermelon is nice and juicy, ready to be picked. September, October, that took a while. Took a while lovingly tending to that watermelon, making sure there were no weeds, making sure that it was watered, making sure that it had all the nutrients that it needed, or your pumpkin or whatever it was, whatever you're trying, your fruit that you're trying to water and grow. And it takes a while, right? But you wouldn't just leave it there and quit watering it and quit weeding when you didn't see the fruit growing. It's run off, run off and not even continue watering the thing. And our dreams are just like that. Our dreams are just like that. So when you're in the middle of a dream, do you have a moment where you don't see any fruit being bared and then you just stop watering it and abandon the garden altogether? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because all of us, every single one of us, me, you, them, everyone, we are all given something sacred, our voice, our vision, our purpose. It's the divine design and the calling on your life that God has bestowed unto you for what your purpose is, what the calling on your life is. We all have a calling on our life. But sometimes it takes years, for that purpose to unfold. Sometimes it's quick and we see little glimmers of what could be. But if we just give up after that first glimmer, we won't actually see the purpose unfold, right? And sometimes we are planting seeds in that season and it doesn't look like the harvest is coming. Like I said, if you were going to plant your watermelon or your pumpkin seeds in the early spring and you come back in midsummer, you're not going to see a lot happening there. But if you come back in the fall, that fruit is going to be nice and juicy and fulfilled if you keep tending to your garden. But you have to keep tending to it. And for me, I have had a long road, and I'm sure you have too. I've had seasons where I'm bursting with creative ideas and living my calling and coaching all of my clients and making tons of money and enjoying the journey, right? And then I've had other seasons where it's crickets. And I just have a handful of people that I'm caring for, and I'm just really tending to that soil and I'm pulling out the weeds and I'm wondering where is this fruit? Where is this fruit? And I've had moments where I have shown up here and not even gotten a single view or a like or anything on my video or my post or no engagement, and I haven't been able to sell a single offer. There's been times. Luckily, those times I do end up breaking through that barrier, but I have had those moments. And I'm sure if you're an entrepreneur that you have too. And you've had moments where you're just like, why don't we just scrap this whole thing? I have had moments where I have literally cried, logging in and looking at my Stripe dashboard. And I fought the urge to just stop all of it and burn it all down. More than once. More than once. Many times during this journey that I have thought, why am I doing this? I should just go get a real job. I should just go get a 9 to 5 and work in the office and get my benefits, and that will be that. And I don't even need to worry about all of this crap. But the thing that I've learned in those moments, those quiet moments, is that's where the growth happens. That's where I'm being called to be stretched and I'm being called to anchor in and have faith in my fate and have faith in God, and where I'm refining myself, because refinement happens in those quiet moments. It happens in the dark. That is where our character is built, is when we are waiting and we are not getting what we want right away. If we don't get we want what we want right away, and then we become a spoiled brat and burn it all to the ground, we ripped out, say you go out to the garden and your fruit is not bearing, and it's July. It's July and you just have a tiny little fruit, and you just say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna rip it all out. And you rip out that fruit, and then you don't even know what it could have become. Then you have no garden. Then you have nothing. Then you have to go and start all over again in the spring. Or sometimes people just give up and never even try to till that soil again. And then they never knew what kind of beautiful garden they could have had. And I want to impress upon you, if you are in a season of not yet, it's not a punishment. It's preparation. It's preparation for something bigger than yourself. We want all the accolades. We want the big stage. We want all the likes. We want all the money. But sometimes God says, "Can you be faithful in the waiting room? What's your character like when you don't get what you want? Can you serve without the applause? Can you show up in this divine design with the calling on your life in a way that is meaningful and is fruitful and that will tend to the soil even when you don't see things happening?" And that's not to say that if things really aren't working, that you shouldn't, pivot and try something new. Because if you're tending to a garden in soil that doesn't have the proper nutrients, then it's time to look at your strategy and try something new, and maybe, try a different way. But we first have to tend to that soil and see what the result is. Because if we give up on it before it even gets started, how will we ever know what the potential is? We don't. We won't. How could we? How could we? So if you're feeling like today nothing's happening and you are in the waiting stage and you're in the waiting room and you are just watering and pulling weeds and tending to that soil and your fruit doesn't seem to be bearing, I really want you to hear this. I want you to hear this message that I have for you today. Keep going. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. And you are not failing. Keep showing up because it's worth it. You're worth it. Your dream is worth it. Anchor in. Anchor in. If you're struggling with those thoughts of giving up, struggling with those thoughts of self-worth, make sure that you are anchoring in with positive feedback so that you can feed yourself with the things that can nourish you so that you can keep going in these trials. In times of chaos, you have to be able to anchor in if you want to withstand the storm. And sometimes the storm is it's just a calm trickle that doesn't stop. It's not always it's not always going to be like a tornado. Sometimes it's just going to be a rainstorm that just seems to go on forever. But it will. It will stop. And the sun will come out again. And you will see the results and some fruit bear. It might not be as what you thought it would be. It might not be as large and juicy as you wanted. But if you keep on tilling that garden, keep on tilling the soil season after season, you will see the results. So anchor in. Anchor in. Feed your heart. Feed your mind. And pray. Pray. Even when it feels like you're talking to the ceiling. We can't do this alone. We did not create ourselves. I do not care what your belief is. You did not create. There's something so much bigger than us. And there's a divine design and a calling on your life. And if you are here to meet the call and answer that call, God's going to show up for you. But you have to surrender your ego, say some prayers, and keep tilling the soil. Give some thanks. Have gratitude for what you have. even if it's just for your breath, even if it's just for your coffee. Keep building, keep tilling the soil, even if it feels like nothing's happening, even if it feels like no one cares, even if it feels like there's no results in this moment. Because if you keep showing up for yourself and showing up for others, you will see the results. And there's a divine design and a calling on your life. So live like there is. Live it. You could be working fast food, broker than heck, in living in the slums or in someone else's house or whatever. You could be in the worst moment of your life addicted to methamphetamine. And I promise you that if you anchor in, you surrender and you say some prayers, give thanks, and you keep tilling that soil and you keep tending to your garden, I promise you, you will see the fruit bear. It might not be the fruit that you were expecting, but if you keep on going and you keep refining your process, you will see the results that you are hoping for. You just have to keep on doing it. So this is your call today to anchor in once again. Always gonna beat that boot like a dead horse. Just keep on going. Anchor in. Sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. Anchoring in this process of of making sure that you're controlling your controllables and feeding yourself and nourishing yourself with the positive fruits of life, that is how we meet our calling in those moments, especially that it feels like nothing's happening or that the storm has taken over. And your calling is not about, it's not a popularity contest. It's not about how many likes we're getting. It's about legacy. What kind of legacy and generational ripple effect do you want to leave behind? Because everything matters. Everything we do, everything we say, how we show up in the world, it matters. And my friend, you are part of something bigger. There is something so much more. There is a divine design and a calling on your life. Even in this moment, you don't feel like it. You have to show up for yourself. You have to be true with yourself, and you have to be real, and you have to what? Anchor in. So don't let that stillness freak you out. Don't let it fool you. Don't run away from it. Sit with it. Make it your friend. Embrace it. Embrace the stillness and recognize that that's a season of growth and that's a season of stretch and that's a season to recalibrate. Stay faithful. Stay anchored. That is how we rise and shine, right? And just, show up like it's already done. Have that much faith in your destiny, in your calling, that it's already there. Because that is the divine design. All right, my friends, I hope that you have a beautiful Tuesday. I gotta run. I will see you tomorrow. If you ever have any questions, you want to sit with me, I'm now offering virtual coffee meetups. You can go to my website, www.lacyjwatson, and fill out an application to work with me if you're wanting to work one-on-one and get some guidance on how to see yourself through the struggle. I hope that you have a beautiful Tuesday. I will see you all tomorrow. Ciao.